definitely seated at all times, even if we are stopped. It does get a bit bumpy out there. It is for your safety. Make sure you hang on to those hats, cameras, glasses. If you manage to drop something, raise your hand, let me know, and just wave it goodbye, because we can't get it.
Like my lens cap. See it.
Well, the first part of our journey through Harambe Wildlife Reserve is going to be through Little Ituri Forest. Little Ituri Forest is home to several camouflage animals, so keep your eyes peeled. I actually see one off to the right. There's a tall brown animal with striped legs.
Oh.
Now that tall brown animal is called the okapi. Those striped legs may make it look like a zebra, however the okapi is the only known relative of the giraffe. Now you'll also notice a smaller animal, brown and to the back with a yellow stripe on its back. This is the yellow-backed diker.
Did you get that?
Or dikerbok. Dikerbocks get their name from the Afrikaans translation to diving buck, because when threatened, they'll run very quickly and dive into dense vegetation. Is the dikerbok. We're coming up on the watering hole, if it's on our left. Watering hole is a popular home for the black rhino, although we'll be lucky to see one. Black rhinos are poached with their horns, which are made of keratin, the same as our hair and fingernails. Because of this poaching, there's only about 5,000 left in the entire world. Although you will see a brown animal to the right, up on the hill. This is the greater kudu. Greater kudu are the second largest of the antelope in Africa. I can tell that's a female because she doesn't have horns. Let's see if we can spot a black rhino. I don't see one yet, but that's all right. There is, however, a large black and white bird to our right on the hill. That black and white bird is known as the saddle-billed stork. They get their name from the saddle shape of their bill. They can grow up to about 5 feet tall and have a wingspan of 8 to 9 feet. That's about as wide as this truck. You can tell a male from a female saddle-billed stork by looking at the color of their eyes. Males will have brown eyes, whereas females will have a bright yellow eyes. Now keep a close eye out. I can actually see some camouflage animals here in the forest. There's a coppered color animal. This copper-colored animal is the bongo. The bongo, or the ghost of the forest. They're extremely reclusive. Now you'll notice their horns are swept back. This allows them to run more quickly through dense vegetation. We're heading out of the forest now and into Safi River. Safi is currently inhabited by hippos. Does anyone want to see a hippo today? Alright. Hippos. Hippos at birth weigh about 85 pounds and grow up to a whopping 5,500 pounds. They gain this massive girth by eating about 150 pounds of grass each and every night. There is one right over your right hand shoulder. It's a little difficult to see. That's because hippos typically spend most of their days in water. This helps protect them from the sun. They're excellent swimmers, but they're a little lazy. They tend to just walk along the bottoms of the rivers. We'll get a better view of some hippos just up ahead. Now you'll notice a large gray bird sitting on top of the island there. That gray bird is called a pink-backed pelican. And I know they're not pink right now because they only turn pink during mating season. And there is an excellent view of several hippos. Now there is a special name for a group of hippos like that. Does anyone know what it is? It's called a bloat. A bloat of hippos. Pretty appropriately named, don't you think? Now we are coming up on an old rickety bridge, so I do need you to stay in your seats, especially because over that bridge are some Nile crocodile.
There they are.
You look to your left. The Nile crocodile has a bite pressure of 2,000 pounds per square inch, which is enough to crush the bones of any of their prey, large or small. The Nile crocodile, if you catch one with their mouth open, they're not about to take a bite. They're actually pulling themselves by exerting excess heat from their bodies. On land, they can run about 10 miles per hour, and this truck, unfortunately, only goes 8, so we're going to leave. Well, we're out of the forest now and heading into a completely different ecosystem, full of different plants and different animals. And speaking of different, up ahead on your right is a baobab tree. The baobab tree, also known as the upside down tree, looks like its roots are sticking straight up into the air. The baobab tree actually goes leafless about 9 months out of the year. It stores all the water it needs in that massive trunk. Baobab trees actually live to be about 2,000 years old. Now coming up is my absolute favorite view in the entire reserve. This is the savanna. The savanna is a superhighway for hundreds of migrating species in Africa. It stretches on for miles and miles and is the wild Africa we are working so hard to conserve. Now you'll already be able to see a few giraffe here in the savanna. The one closest to us coming up on the right. We're going to pass by him on the right. This is a Maasai giraffe, straight ahead. Now the Maasai giraffe is noted for their irregular pattern, sort of jagged leaf-like spots. The giraffe is the tallest land mammal in the world, up to 20 feet tall.
You sit that one in the front, right there.
Eating the leaves off the tree with his tongue, which is about 18 inches long. It helps him reach up to those tippy-top leaves of the trees. And giraffes actually spend about 20 hours of their day just eating. They only sleep for about 30 minutes. Now, this is the other type of giraffe, the reticulated giraffe, the one closest to the truck now. Reticulated comes from the Latin word reticulata, meaning net-like. This is in reference to their pattern, which is sort of like a net. There's another Maasai giraffe behind him.
They put stuff in there.
We'll see some more giraffes here. There's a baby in the distance. We'll get a closer look in just a little bit. Now, the most interesting thing to me about the savanna is it's self-sustaining. For example, an elephant will act like a bulldozer, pushing over trees to eat the leaves off the top. And a giraffe acts more like pruning shears, taking the bottommost leaves off the tree. This allows the sun to shine through and the grass to grow beneath it. And that way smaller animals, like the ones we're about to pass up here, have food to eat. This way, everyone has food, and it is a perfectly balanced ecosystem. You have to see quite a few different animals. I'll point them out for you.
There's all sorts of barriers.
We'll start with the animals coming up on our left. There's quite a few. Obviously, there's another reticulated giraffe eating from the stump. But there's also a large, shaggy animal. There's one with horns and one without. This is the water buck. They're named because they're typically found around a water source. The water buck actually have a very helpful talent of secreting an oily substance from their skin onto their fur, which allows them to be virtually waterproof. Now there's a smaller animal to either side of the truck with a stripe on its belly. This is the springbok. Springbok are very appropriately named because they have the ability to spring up into the air about 11.5 feet. You'll see some scattered orange mounds throughout the savanna. Can anyone tell me what these orange mounds are? Termites, very good. Termite mounds are used by elephants as a scratching post, and once they're worn down, they'll be used by smaller animals as a lookout perch. We're coming up on that baby giraffe. Do have your cameras ready. It'll be on the right-hand side. It's an excellent view. Now, giraffes are born about 6 feet tall. As tall as a fully grown human.
Oh, look at the baby giraffe. You got it?
thing about the giraffes, their hearts are huge. In fact, their hearts alone weigh about 25 pounds and are about 2 feet long. Now there is a large brown animal with huge horns off to our left here. This brown animal is known as the Ankole cattle. The Ankole cattle's horns can grow up to 6 feet long and have a circumference at the base of 20 inches. Ankole cattle are the only domesticated animals here in the reserve. They were actually domesticated thousands of years ago by the Watusi tribe. So sometimes they're called Ankole Watusi cattle.
Right underneath those trees.
There's a gray animal to the left, underneath the bush here. This is the white-bearded wildebeest. White-bearded wildebeest have the largest migration pattern of any animal in the entire world, with herds in the thousands. Wildebeest get their name from the translation wild beast in Afrikaans, but they're pretty docile. They typically stay in the shade, graze in the savannah. Now we're coming up on what I like to call elephant country. Anyone excited about elephants? Yeah. All right, I'm excited about elephants too. But before that, we're going to pass by Monkey Point, which is most recently home to a family of mandrills. Let's see if we can find some monkeys.
Yeah, search your camera. They're on this side. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, they're on that side.
He was way up there. Okay, we're switching to what?
Now keep a close eye out to your left. There's some towards the back, I see some mandrills. The mandrill are the largest of the monkey species here in Africa.
He's right there on the top.
The male mandrill weighs about 100 pounds, whereas the female weighs about 30. It's hard to see them. Looks like they're hiding right now. They're noted for their bright blue and red markings on their face and bottoms. You'll also see an elephant if you look over your right-hand shoulder. Now I can tell this elephant's male simply because he's by himself. Males are typically solitary, whereas the females and calves will stay together. They're a little more social. Well, I usually cross through elephant country this way, but it looks like the road's closed. So should we keep going? Yeah. All right, you guys seem pretty confident, I guess. So yeah. All right. Well, there seems to be an old bridge here, but it looks like the last truck made it across just fine. So I'm sure it'll be perfectly safe. Just stay in those seats and cross your fingers for me.
Old bridge.
Sounds pretty bad, guys. Whew, well, I made it across, so that's always good. And you guys made it too! Awesome! Let's get out of here. Now, if you look to either side of the truck, you'll notice some red clay pits. I can tell elephants have been here. There's test marks and footprints all over the place. Elephants will actually eat this red clay. It's rich in vitamins and nutrients that they need. And if you look to your left, you'll see an excellent view of some more elephants. Now, unfortunately, the elephant's greatest predator is the human. They're poached for their tusks, which are made of ivory. But more recently, human encroachment has hurt the elephant habitats. Humans mine on their territories for a rare metallic ore called coltan, which is used in most major electronics like cell phones and laptops. Right now, our scientists here at Harambe are studying their vocalization patterns to better understand their communication. This is a really incredible view. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the radio, and we're just going to sit back and enjoy it. There's a pretty good view over your left-hand shoulder of that baby elephant. Now, elephants actually have the second longest childhood of any species in the world, second to the human, as a matter of fact. Elephants will stay children for about 13 to 15 years. By the baobab tree.
Oh, the baby. Right beside the big one. The baby up there. That's a pretty picture. Yeah,
There's a great view of a baby elephant coming up.
That's pretty. You got
Take a look over your left-hand shoulder. Get a great view. Now you'll notice some of the elephants might be flapping their ears. This is something elephants do to cool themselves down. There are major blood vessels located behind their giant ears. And by flapping them, they can lower their body temperature by 15 degrees. You'll notice some birds on the island to the left. These are the greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are just called greater because they are the largest of the flamingo species. They are, however, the lightest shade of pink. This pink color comes from the beta carotene from the brine shrimp and other aquatic crustacean that they eat. Now, can anyone tell me what a group of flamingos is called? It's kind of got a weird name. Any guesses? A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
I got the drawings.
Now we're in white rhino territory, and you'll actually
rhinos.
see a few crossing the road up ahead. The white rhino, unfortunately, much like the elephant and the black rhino, are being poached for their horns.
Oh, there's a zebra too, Cedric.
Unfortunately, poachers are so well funded that they are thinking of new techniques, more sophisticated techniques for poaching every day, which makes protecting these beautiful animals more and more difficult. The white rhino, as you can see, is not the color white. It actually gets its name from the Afrikaans word "weit," meaning wide. This is in reference to their broad mouths, and possibly a suggestion about their weight, considering they're about 5,000 pounds, which is 2,000 pounds larger than the black rhino.
How are we gonna get out?
Now the zebra that we all saw, you may be wondering, is it black with white stripes or white with black stripes? Well, I'm here to tell you that they are black with white stripes. We can tell this by looking at the color of their nose. A zebra's stripes are individual and unique, just like a human's fingerprints, and their back hind legs are powerful enough to to break the jaw of an attacking lion. Now, if you look carefully on the hill to your left, you'll see a cheetah resting in the grass underneath the shade of the trees. It's a little difficult to see. Cheetahs are the fastest land mammal in the world, running at about 60 miles per hour. But they're more sprinters. They typically only can run this fast for a few hundred yards. Cheetahs have excellent eyesight, which allows them to hunt during the day. And a little known fact about cheetahs, they are the only large cat that is capable of purring. But I do not recommend being close enough to a cheetah to hear it purr. Now up ahead is a large formation of rocks called a kopje, which is an excellent lookout for large predators like the lion, which you can see resting on top of the kopje. That is the male lion.
I don't see it.
Oh, I see it. Is it at the top?
No.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Now, if that male lion were feeling particularly vocal, his roar could be heard from 5 miles away. As you can see, he's deep in sleep. That's because lions typically rest for about 20 hours every day. The female lions will do the majority of the hunting. As you can see, the female lion is just on this rock right in front here. And male lions will stay back and protect the pride. To the right, you'll notice some more white rhinos and also a brown animal with horns on its head. This brown animal is called the bontebok. The bontebok is extinct in the wild, and it is one of the relatives of the wildebeest. A better view of the female lion right up here.
Oh, that's a good one. That is all. She's just looking at me.
And you might even get a good glimpse of the male lion too, just on top of the rock.
So cute. He's just chilling. Yes.
Now, can anyone tell me the Swahili word for lion?
Simba.
Simba, very good. Just like the Lion King. Now, up to the left are some large burrows. This burrow is home to the warthog, who you can see munching on some food. Just to the left. Warthogs will use those burrows not only as shelter, but also as protection. If threatened by a predator, they'll back into these burrows and stick out their razor-sharp tusks to ward them off. Despite their short legs, they can actually run about 35 miles per hour. Excellent view of the white rhino. Now there is an ostrich, a few ostrich to our right. The ostrich are the largest birds in the world. They have wings, however they are flightless. Probably for the best. I would not want to be underneath a flying ostrich. But they don't need to fly. Those long legs of theirs allow them to run up to 40 miles per hour. We're heading out of the savannah and into Magadi Glen, which is home to the very rare addax, so keep your eye out. The addax, which you'll see on the hill to the right, is almost extinct. There's only about 300 left in the wild. There's about 1,000 on reserves, just like this one, trying to protect it from extinction. Those unique spiral horns on their head can grow up to 4 feet long. But the most incredible thing about the addax is they can go their entire lives without a single drop of water. They get all the water they need from the food that they eat. Now do hang on tight. There are a few bumps up here, so stay seated. Unfortunately, that does conclude our safari. No, it was a little short. Well, that's all right. If there's more you want to learn about animals and conservation, there's plenty to do right here in Africa. I do recommend the Pangani Forest Trail. It is a walking trail, but you'll be able to see up close a few more animals like the Highland and lowland gorillas, the meerkat, and even an underwater viewing area of the hippos we saw earlier. Also check out Rafiki's Planet Watch. You'll be able to learn more about animals, behaviors, and environments. You might even catch a vet appointment for some of our animals here at Animal Kingdom. And you can also take your little explorers to affection section, where they can get up close and personal with some of our more domesticated animals like goats, sheep, donkeys, and pigs. Make sure you've gathered all your personal belongings. I'd hate for you to leave something or someone behind. And I'll drop you off at the nearest warden's post. Now, we don't like to say goodbye here